Wow, we've done it. We've solved planetary industry. This video is going to give you the best way to make the most ISK while still minimizing the amount of inputs you have. Y'all know my philosophy is all about efficiency here. So if you want the best EVE Online guides, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, Loru here, digital advertiser, content creator, and EVE enjoyer for the better part of 10 years now. And this video is going to be a condensed version of how to maximize your planetary industry, assuming you're in dangerous areas of space. Pochven, wormhole space, nullsec. These have the highest yields of all of New Eden. So you can take what I'm going to tell you now and apply it wherever the heck you're trying to go. Here's how to set up your planets. You're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 as a base, gathering planets with a single crafting planet. And then if you get your interplanetary consolidation skill to 5, which I recommend you do, you can have a floater planet. We'll talk about that in just a sec. In order to understand why this setup, I actually have to go into our crafting planet and show you the layout here. Now, whoa, some of you just went, just give me a sec. This is a massive crafting planet. Each one of these advanced factories is making nanites. You're going to be able to have 23 to 24 of these factories depending on the size of the planet. And here's my first big tip for you. You want to try to have your crafting planets on a barren planet. Barren planets are smaller, so the links, these little pipes that are in between stuff, are actually going to take less distance. So you'll typically be able to fit 24 factories instead of my 23 if you have it on a barren planet. Mine is not. I get by just fine with 23, call it a day. So since we have 23 to 24 factories running non-stop, a full launch pad of 10,000 M3 takes a little bit over a day to fully work through. This means we're going to have 5,000 M3 of bacteria and 5,000 M3 of reactive metal dumped into this launch pad, which is then routed into all of these factories. These factories, when they're done, route the nanites back into this second launch pad. How you can do that is making sure that the routes from launch pad 1, call it your input launch pad, are all outgoing bacteria and then outgoing reactive metals to each one of these factories. Another fun tip for you, you can make sure that you're depositing your mats into the right launch pad by checking the actual ID of the launch pad itself. This one is LV010. The other launch pad you can see is a slightly different, it's very close name. Looks like our output launch pad is OV and our input launch pad is LV. I did not plan for the output launch pad to have O at the start of its name, but happy accidents, I accept. And here's why all this works. This takes P1s, but if you only have one planet of P1s inputting to the crafting planet, you're not going to have enough to run through your full amount of mats in one day. So you have to have 2 gathering planets feeding into the crafting planet in order to make sure you're maximizing your ISK per hour. So this means we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets as a base. So you can do this setup on one character, and I have many characters doing this. And before I show you on the flow of all that stuff goes, let's talk about the fit of the ships you're going to bring. There is zero reason to be using anything else besides the Torrent or the Deluge anymore. Now that Equinox is out, you know I hyped these ships up a bunch. That is for a reason. These are PI monsters. Here is the first ship for you. Many of you will recognize this fit from our other Equinox focused video. This is the fit I use almost exclusively to haul my big PI from A to B. This ship is a monster with 120,000 EHP unheated. And since we're going into dangerous areas, we are going to be rocking the interdiction nullifier and the warp core stab. You want to make sure that you can get the hell out no matter what hits you. The afterburner is not for speed. The afterburner, we've talked about this in other videos. If you one pulse the afterburner, turn it on, turn it off, your align time will not be 23 seconds. It'll be whatever your afterburner skill is. So for me, if I come over to the afterburner and I check it out, let me get the stuff off the screen. Thank you very much. We can see that the activation time is 7.5 seconds. So if I one pulse the afterburner, my align time is not going to be 23 seconds. It's going to be 8 seconds. This is huge. On a hauler like this, you don't have to fit any align time whatsoever. You can just focus on tank. And tank we shall. Almost every single other mod is going to be focused on improving your effective HP. Because you're a shield tank ship, we are going to be running a power diagnostic system in the low. This increases your overall shield HP. When you add up the bonuses from everything else, it really helps to push this forward. Some of you might not like the single damage control. That's really like a safety net thing. If someone happens to get through all of our shields, we still then have some tank in the armor and the hull slots. I fit my ships with the methodology that I'm going to get caught at some point, and I try to have contingencies for that. And speaking of contingencies, ladies and gentlemen, the media micro jump drive. This module is fantastic. Many of you know it. It's going to blip your ship 100 kilometers forward in a straight line and will maintain your momentum. Here's what to do if you get caught inside of a bubble. You're going to align to your destination first and activate your afterburner. That's step 1. You're going to one pulse this. You're not going to leave it on. You're going to activate your warp core stab and then your micro jump drive. This is one of the reasons we use a Tech 2 warp core stab to elongate the effect that the warp core stab has. You are then going to blip just outside of the bubble once the medium micro jump drive is finished. Because you maintain your momentum and the timings of this this stuff all kind of match up, you're gonna blip and then spam warp 2, and your ship will be off to the races.
But Loru, you run an interdiction nullifier.
I know, that's the trap card, y'all. Let's say they're super fast, they get on top of you, and then they still lock you down with another bubble. You can always use your interdiction nullifier. The combination of the fast align time, the warp core stab, the interdiction nullifier, and the medium micro jump drive, you have plenty of options depending on what the strategy your opponents are using. With that said, y'all, as always, you are
never safe in Eve.
Understand that no matter what you take, at some point you're going to get ganked, you're going to get got. Unless you're running something super slippery. Ladies and gentlemen, the Torrent has a much bigger inventory space than the Deluge. Torrent's rocking 36k in the fleet hangar and an infrastructure hold at 90k. Whenever I'm hauling the bulk of my PI, I will take it into the Torrent. But I'm not going to take the Torrent out when I do my day-to-day PI activities. No, that's where the Deluge comes in, ladies and gentlemen. Much less tank than the Torrent, sitting at 46k unheated. Now we're looking at much less effective HP than the Torrent here, 47k. What we lose in effective HP, we make up for in slipperiness, actual ease of use. We have a sub 4-second align time here. That's thanks to our low slots and our 2 rigs combined. Why the one Tech 1 and the other Tech 2? I didn't need double Tech 2s to get this below 4 seconds. As always with align time, you're trying to go just under the second. If you have 3.5 seconds versus 3.91 align time, it really doesn't matter from a server tick standpoint. Like the optimal one is you would have 3.99 seconds. Just make sure you play with your skills and see what works for you. We are also going to be running a stab and an interdiction nullifier on this, but the main point that makes the Deluge better for day-to-day operations in dangerous space is the covert ops cloak. If you're doing this right, you really should be on grid for maybe a second. And again, I build the ship assuming that I'm going to get ganked, assuming that somebody's going to try to point me and see what's up. And as many of you know, the Deluge still has a fantastically large infrastructure hold. With my skills, this base 30k is up to close to 50k M3. And this is the main reason you're going to use this over an Occator or a Viator. Because what I had to do before with my Viator, I would go to the customs office, get a bunch of PI mats, and I have to go back to the station to drop off the stuff, and then go back to the customs office. Or I would have to take my Occator out. She got a big booty. It takes forever to actually go to each customs office, go back to the crafting planet. It took me like 15 minutes. I actually stopwatched it with the Deluge. I can finish my entire PI haul in less than 6 minutes. This is not just a big deal from an ease of use standpoint and making your ISK. It's also a big deal because when you're in dangerous areas, assume every customs office is watched, every gate, every station. This gives less time for people to mobilize and to come take you out. But enough theory crafting, let's show you something in a live environment, huh? Speaking of dangerous areas, back in Pochven feels good. Red sun on my skin. We're gonna do a full run of this to make sure you see why and how this is so freaking efficient. Before we go outside, the first thing you have to do before you even do any of this, especially if you're in a dangerous area, is have a bunch of bookmarks ready to go. You have to have first an insta-dock bookmark. You're gonna have also a bunch of safe points bookmark. Not 1, not 2, have like 4. I change these every couple months or every month depending on what's going on, especially if you see a combat probe out. If you think you've been scanned down, that's compromised. Change it. Keep it going. The second thing you're gonna go get is get a bunch of PI save points that are not directly on top of the actual customs office itself. This will become very apparent why in just a moment. So let's undock and we can show y'all what the heck is going on here. Let's get her done. If you wanna know how to make an insta-dock point, simply undock, press Control B, that's it, press submit and call it a day. Ah, yes. Cloaked up, nobody can find us. Beautiful. Fantastic. Once you leave station, people know.
You are never safe in Eve.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to make sure you do this fast. I'm going to narrate this and go as quick as I can, so here we go. You, of course, have your save spots going. Some checklists. You got to have your D-scan ready to go. Get set up. Get it nice and filtered. If you want a full guide on this, we have a guide on how to do your D-scan properly. Okay, we're going to right-click this, go to Customs Office, Access Customs Office. We're going to move this stuff over, transfer it over. We're going to make this window as tiny as possible. I hate these stupid things. We're also going to open up our inventory, press and hold Shift and left-click on the infrastructure holds. This is going to let the infrastructure hold pop out in its own window. I'm going to put this guy right here just so we can kind of move it off to the side and see what's up. So the next thing we do is we right click this, go to Customs Office and warp to 0, right? Don't do that. The Triglavian area is very scary. We're going to go make a safe point in another ship that is well away from the Customs Office. You're going to do this, bookmark that, and then warp to that in your Deluge later. You don't want to just warp to something at 0, not just because of the players. The mobs are here to kill you. There are a ton of really bad things inside of Pochven, and you do not want to aggro them if you don't have to. Even when you get your Pochven standings ready to go, there's still the fear. Speaking of various mobs in the system, always be D-scanning, y'all. So that's it. We put the stuff in, we activate our shields, we start warping to the next save point, and that's it. The moment our warp warp drive is off, we are going to activate our cloak. And you saw we were on grid for maybe 3, 4, at maximum 5 server ticks. So we have a lovely Ishtar fleet showing up. Looks like we got some fights happening in my lovely area. The OBS, we'll have a guide on that at some point, don't you worry. You can see we're well above this. We're going to right click this, nobody's there. We're going to warp to it at 0. We're going to open up the customs office while this is happening. Access customs office, move it over, get that transfer ready to go. The moment your ship is within range, we're going to move the stuff over, activate our shields, and immediately warp out to the next safe point. Be fast. Y'all, this is how you stay alive with this ship. Be fast. Make sure you activate your shields in between sessions. The moment your warp is off, activate the Covert Ops Cloak. I'm going to get all of our gathering mats here and then fast forward to when we're actually going to throw stuff onto our crafting planet. I'll see y'all in just a sec. All right, so we got all of our mats out of our gathering planets. Barren Launchpad has 10k M3 and the customs office has 35, more than 3 times the amount. So if you don't want to do all the stuff I'm showing you every other day, you can do this instead. Simply undock, activate your shield modules. I normally do this in a torrent just to be sure. Don't warp anywhere, just sit right next to the station and take all the little goodies that are in the Barren Launchpad on the right and move them to the customs office here. You can do this every couple days so that you only have to haul once a week. When I do my hauling once a week, I come down to my crafting planet and I absolutely load up the customs office with as many materials as possible. First thing you're going to do when you do your hauling on your crafting planet is you're going to go to your output launchpad. You can see the nanites here. Drag them over, transfer it. Now we're going to go back to our input planet and we're going to drag over as many bacteria as we can. Now you see that almost fills it up. We don't want this to all be filled up with barely enough reactive metals. I'll just give you the cheat code here. You're going to drag it over. You're going to go to 22,000. You're going to copy that. Reactive metals, 22,000. Press transfer. Why did those go down? Because my factories were empty and we're now sucking up some materials and have started immediately. You're now going to come back in here, drag. You see it's 12,240. Let's do some quick maths, y'all. That's 6,120. Copy it, move it over. Another 6,120. Looks like I did it right. Press transfer. This is now full and will last for about a day. You want to be able to undock tomorrow and just do the same thing. It takes you maybe 30 seconds to maximize your ISK generation. In order to do that, you got to fill up this customs office. So I see that we got 57,300. So let's just pull 57,300 out right here. What we're going to do is let's warp on down. Well, hello, Edencom. It's good to see you. Thank God I got those standings ready to go. I know you want that guide, y'all. Check back. We'll definitely give it to you. We're going to activate all of our shield modules fast, drag the nanites in, drag the bacteria in, drag the reactive metals in, get the right amount in, and immediately warp off to a safe. Get me the heck out of here. Now, a solid 34 million ISK in nanites. This is about a day and a half's work, so you do the math there. Typically, I'm clearing between 1 and 2 billion ISK in just P2s a month throughout my characters, and that's if I want to really hit it every single day. We've missed a couple days here and there because I've been in high sec and null sec, doing some fun things, you'll see. This is the system I use in whatever dangerous area of space I may or may not be in to make literally billions of ISK or minutes of work a day. I typically like to treat my PI as something like an extra, but it's not the focus of my playtime. If you want to see even more PI focused guides, we got more coming. That's this playlist right here. Bookmark it, check it out, enjoy it. If you want to get space rich and enjoy all the things that EVE Online and indeed EVE Vanguard has to offer, make sure you sub for more. Thanks very much for the recent engagement. See you in the next video, y'all. Real appreciate you. We'll see you soon.